Had a laptop act like it don't want to work because I just deleted that take. Check one, two. Angie here, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. If you have been on my channel before, thank you for returning. I appreciate you just as much. Please subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you know when I've made a new video. Do like on my videos, comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Be respectful. That's all I ask. And share in case you think there's something in my video that someone can get something from. So today what I want to talk about is sort of fresh on my mind. So like kind of smiling on the inside because I'm thinking about inner child Angie. That's her right there. Inner child Angie. I love looking at that picture. I recently got that picture. So maybe this is a little bit of a story time. I recently got that picture. When I was about 6 years old, we had a house fire. We lived on the first floor. My aunt lived on the second floor. And there was another family that lived on the third floor. It was a triple decker. So we had a house fire. And all my pictures from childhood burned in that fire. Now, of course, all the pictures that my mother had, okay, which was a lot of pictures, okay, because I was her child. So a lot of those pictures burned in that fire. There were some family members that had pictures of me as children, but those were their pictures. So in terms of like what my mom and I had in my possession or within my reach, a lot of my priceless baby pictures were burned in that fire. One day I went to my mother's house. This was about, it was within the past year because it hasn't even been a year yet that I've had this picture hanging here. I went to my mother's and I walked in her living room and I stopped mid sentence. Where did you get that picture from? And she said to me, it's always been there. Mom, as hard up as I am for any images of me as a little girl, no, that picture has not always been there. Oh, it was there. There was a curtain on it. It was a curtain over this picture that I needed so desperately. And the timing of it could not have been more perfect, even though I was heated, to say the least, about the circumstance or why I did not even know this picture even existed. My mother has a very small stained glass window, and she wanted to kind of like cover it or match it with the rest of the windows. So the curtain she had up there came down rather long over the wall where this picture was hanging. That's a story for another time. I didn't ask a lot of questions, y'all, so don't ask me, okay? Because I don't know. But when I saw that picture, I said, hand it over right now. So I took the picture. I went right to CVS. I didn't care about the quality of the picture. I would love to take it somewhere, though, and see if they can get like color in it. But for now, because it's not a black and white photo, it's just very faded like. But I took it to the nearest CVS. I made me a copy of it. I gave her original, and I hung this up here so that I can see it every single day. Because this is Angie. I would say I was probably about 7 or 8 years old in this picture. This is Angie before. I'm trying not to get emotional because y'all, I got to get this out because it's happy. It's happiness. It really is. This is Angie before a lot of the things that I am repairing now. This is Angie before those things happen. I love her. I love her. She was very innocent, smart, kind, friendly, quiet. I laugh because, child, I can be loud now. She's a beautiful little girl. She never heard that, but she is, and she was. So when things start to happen in our lives that rob us of innocence or put us through traumas that as children you don't know how to cope with those things. You need the caregivers or the adults and the parents in your life to help you cope with those things. And either they don't realize, they don't know, and dare I say it, some don't care. You don't get what you need as a child. And so that child turns into a teenager that doesn't have what they need and might make some decisions that, aren't the best decisions. And then you become a young adult that you might make decisions that aren't the best decisions. And all the while, you're not realizing that there's this information that if you could just come across it and access it, either on your own or because of another person who has it and wants to give it to you, you just keep rolling into that self that you are with all that trauma and all that pain and all that unworked out and unresolved past, okay? And so here this little girl is today. She is so many wonderful things. But a lot of things that people can immediately um, identify from me was that I was a young teen parent, that I was a single mom. I have three sons and two daughters, and things were very busy for me as a young single mother. Just that existence alone was complete survival mode. And that term itself is even new for me. I knew what I was living, but I didn't know there was a name for it. So there's a lot of terms that I'm like learning and discovering. And the crazy part about it is none of that happened until recently. And so it's like, how in the world did you go all of these years? You don't know that you need to look for something that you don't know to look for. That's all I can say. I was busy and focused on being a mother and providing and doing what I needed to do, making sure my kids had what they needed, and making sure I did the basics like taking care of myself, making sure we had somewhere to live, food in the house, washing clothes, people going to school, getting help with their homework, extracurricular activities, doctor's appointments, the basics of being a responsible parent. And there often wasn't a lot of time. I didn't I didn't see a lot of time for me to go on this journey for myself, because often the messages that we can get from our family and the world is that being a mother has to become this selfless act, like you just disappear. You don't even matter anymore. Well, enter the pandemic. And first off, I want to say that my heart really truly goes out to all the people who lost so many loved ones in this pandemic. It was so unbelievable. It almost felt like being in a video game or a crazy movie that came to life. It was unbelievable. It took me a really long time to accept the fact that the world was actually in a pandemic. So my heart truly goes out to everyone who lost loved ones. I actually lost three family members in the pandemic. and we're all recovering in our own different ways from what we experienced from this pandemic. One of the things for me that came about in this pandemic was, for the first time in my life since I have been a mother, pregnant at 14, is the world had slowed down. And so I had this permission by default, because of the world slowing down, to actually sit with myself. And boy, you talk about somebody saying, I am not going to be able to do this alone. That was hard for me because I've always done everything alone. The messages that I had gotten, that this little girl it was impressed upon this little girl is, when it's your bed, you made it, you lay in it. That's what I did. I became somebody who wasn't really good at asking for help. And then the times that I did ask for help, you ask for help from the wrong people, you can kind of regret it. So those type of experiences just made me more apprehensive to ask anybody to do anything for me. I felt safer doing things on my own. And while I got a lot done, I really never wanted to be doing it all by myself. And that's something that I can say now. It's something I would not have said then, because I felt like it was my responsibility to do it by myself. Like, after a while, the messages start to become messages that you're making for yourself. So you're making new messages from old messages that were wrong messages, okay? Is what I'm trying to say. So I did a lot on my own. And so for the first time, I was able to focus on me in this pandemic. And I loved it. I mean, I really did. I loved not being plunked in. Now, I didn't love the pandemic, so let me make sure I'm clear on saying that. I loved being at home and not having 7 million things to do, because we couldn't really do much of anything. I loved not plunking myself in the energies outside 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I mean, how can you even take a second for yourself when you're always doing something? You're working, and the kids, and the sports activities, and the appointments, and the social life, and dating, all of that would just eat up the time. Self never was at the top of that list. Self became at the top of that list in the pandemic. So, just to wrap this up, last year, at the beginning of last year, I employed a therapist that is covered through my insurance, and I also employed a therapist that I was paying out of my pocket. I wasn't playing, okay? Because I needed help. I needed help with the stuff that was coming up. At first, therapy was something that I used to deal with the matters at hand that were in front of me. Oh, I have this issue that's going on right now. Oh, I'm feeling this way right now. I never in a million years realized that there were things locked away in a box, way in the back of life, in a dark closet, with a padlock on the door, with the lights off. You know what I'm saying? Boarded up, deserted, with beware signs all over it. I mean, that's where that box was at. I never knew that that was sitting there. The past is in the past. So, who cares, right? Well, that has a lot to do with some of who I am today. And as long as a lot of that stuff was going unresolved, I would always have this wonder why I dealt with the matter at hand. I even had therapy to deal with the matter at hand, but I still don't feel good. What's this? What is happening? What am I not doing? I was invited to participate in this book project over the summer of 2021. And it was a book project to talk about how your pain has pierced you. And, it was interesting. I'm a writer. I felt like it would be a great thing for me. I've always wanted to write something and actually become an author. So I said, okay, this is an opportunity for me. Let me take it. Never did I imagine what I chose to write about, which was being molested at the age of 9 or 10. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but it was somewhere in those ages. Never did I know that going into my past to get that one trauma, because that's what I thought I was getting. You pull out a tissue and then a whole bunch of other ones come out. That's what happened. You can't unboard the doors and turn the lights on and open up the dark closet and open up the box and say, I'm just gonna get this one little trauma out and the rest of y'all stay in there. That's not how that worked. That's not how that worked, y'all. Oh my God, that's not how that went. I started writing about that one thing, and then all the other stuff started going, hello, we're all here. I was like, wait a minute, this is too much. So that summer is when I started that project. And by winter of 2022, I was like, I need two people because this is too much. I'm about to say stuff about people that I love, but it ain't going to be nice what I got to say. And that's another thing. When you are dealing with your healing, you have to tell the truth. You have to tell them. It's so easy to tell the truth about other people. It's hard when you love them and all of that stuff, but you could do it. But you also have to tell the truth about yourself. Okay? That's where accountability comes in. Not as a child, not when you didn't have the ability and the rights to choose for yourself, but as an adult, there are some things that we do have to take accountability for our own selves for. Okay? So I started doing this work for real just a year ago. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed because this little girl is still on the inside of me. And she's been showing up for me in ways that I did not imagine. This little girl, my teenager me, my young adult me, I realized that the best thing for me at this point, with all the information that I know and all the implementation that has been going on with the tools that I have in my toolbox now, it is time for me to pull us all together. No more, I wouldn't be dealing with this right now, repairing this if you had to my young adult self. And then my young adult self is, well, if you had just said or told somebody when they did such and such, to my teenager me. It's like this war going on inside where everybody was just pointing fingers everywhere. And it was representative of the environment that I came up in, to be honest with you. Mm, guess who's in control now? Big Angie. Big Angie. Getting information, processing it, having her days where it's hard to just get through what's going on in my mind and telling myself it's okay, it'll pass. Don't go backwards. Don't go backwards. So that's where I'm at right now in my healing process. Is you hear this inner child work, you don't even know what that is. Like I didn't know what that was. I've heard it before, but now I understand it, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to go back and reunite with yourself. If you feel like you want to do stuff with other people, by all means, search your heart and decide and do what you need to do. But for me, I need to go back and get myself and get us all together. And me today, with the tools that I have. am able to give all of us what we need because all that I need is within me now. I truly believe that mind, body, and soul, all that I need is within me now. And one of the ways that I was able to do that is by getting help. So whether it's therapy, whether it's a community that you join, whether it's in combination of different things, please know that this is something that you can do, and you can do it at a point all alone, but you can go further if you do it with help. So that's all I wanted to share today. I love you. I want you to love yourself. I want you to go back and heal the things that you need to go back and heal. Because at the end of the day, your happiness, your peace, that's all your responsibility. It doesn't belong to anybody else. We can feel like it belongs to somebody else, but if you're grown up, it's your responsibility. And so you have to take that into your own hands. So love yourself, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you again soon. Big Angie and Little Angie signing out. Bye.